Well, everyone, it looks like corruption wins again. What is up, everybody? You've just entered the realm of Izzyland YT. It's your boy Izzy, back with another awesome and, quite frankly, very depressing video. So recently there was this economical fight between corporate rich billionaires slash hedge funds and online Redditors via Wall Street bets. The reason why these people on social media got involved in the first place was because they noticed that these billionaires, these hedge funds, they were betting on vulnerable businesses that are more likely to close during the pandemic. They're betting for them to fail, and there have been a lot of cases where businesses remain closed for good, and now a lot of them are keeping afloat. They're barely hanging on. These hedge fund guys or whatever, they were being opportunistic, they were being hawkish and vultures or whatever, and they were preying upon these businesses, specifically the likes of Gamestop and AMC. Nokia is another one, and I believe BlackBerry is on there, but the top two are Gamestop and AMC. Those two are the most popular businesses, and most certainly for AMC, because it's the most common movie theater that a lot of us go to in various communities and cities, especially my area of Chicago, and not just in the small communities or those that are impoverished, but even in the downtown area, across town, and even in the most affluent communities and stuff. So it's a pretty common place to go see movies. I mean, that's how it was before until this pandemic hit. But now these hedge fund guys, they want to, gamble on these businesses and try to make money off of their suffering, which is absolutely disgusting. So these online Redditors, they actually took it upon themselves to really screw over these billionaires, like beat them at their own game. I know I'm very late to the party, but I gotta say, I was enjoying every second of it. I loved how the billionaires got all upset, throwing shade, acting like a bunch of high schoolers.
The reason the market is doing what it's doing is people are sitting at home getting the checks from the government, okay? And this fair share is a bullshit concept. It's just a way of attacking wealthy people, and I think it's inappropriate.
These are grown ass men and women, and they're even going with conspiracy theories, going back to like Russiagate and all this other bull crap, and it's like it's like they make it like their top priority to investigate and stuff.
I think that in general, when we evaluate how we would manage through a situation where you see a significant run-up in a stock that's not based on news, that's not based on fundamentals, what we do is we do have technology that evaluates social media chatter. And if we see a significant rise in the chatter on social media channels, and then we also match that up against unusual trading activity, we will potentially halt that stock to allow ourselves to investigate the situation, to be able to engage with the company, and to give investors a chance to recalibrate their positions. And then if we do think or contemplate that there may be some manipulation, we then engage with FINRA and the SEC to evaluate and investigate that.
So for them to see them scramble was bittersweet. It put a smile on my face, but unfortunately AMC, they went down in the market. So as you can see, AMC Entertainment Holdings, which is the movie theater, and that's how they're identified according to the stock market, they suffered a crushing loss. They closed at 5.55 USD. And this was back in February 17th, 7:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And at some point it went up to 561, and I'll go back to 6 months, a couple bumps here and there, and then there was this huge one back in January 27th. And I think this is when the whole battle started between Redditors and the hedge funds. So January 27th, you know, it went up to like 1990 USD. Now for GME, it seemed to do a bit better, because I mean, let's go back 6 months. It went all the way up to like, jeez, like 347.51 USD. Same day as like when with AMC on January 27th. 347.51 a share. That's quite an accomplishment. Kudos to the Redditors, to the online Redditors, for putting in the work. And here's an article from Yahoo Finance to confirm that indeed the show's over for AMC stock. February 10th's closing price, 5.80 per share. There's still not much value here. Short squeeze has come and gone, but it wasn't all for nothing. They said there was like an upside. Taking advantage of the skyrocketing interest in its stock, AMC raised $305 million via a direct offering. Okay, so they did make some, you know, some money for it, or you know, the online Redditors were being generous. Who knows? Continues to say, like, coupled with this other recent capital raises, the theater chain now has $900 million in fresh capital in its war chest. With this, bankruptcy fears have been significantly reduced. Oh, okay, well that's some good news. But hold on, you know, it says, however, avoiding bankruptcy is the only first step towards an overall recovery based on valuation metrics. Shares remain overpriced. You know, as those who dived into the stock last month throw in the towel, expect this downward slide to continue. To what extent will AMC stock continue to fall? A pullback to around $2 per share appears likely, and further declines from there aren't out of the question. Okay, here's another article by the Motley Fool saying that Wall Street expects AMC and Gamestop to implode. The fuel behind these amazing rallies in Reddit's Wall Street Bets WSB community chat room. Millions of users on WSB join forces to kickstart a short squeeze in a handful of heavily short sold stocks. A short seller is an investor who benefits when the price of a stock falls. However, since gains are capped at 100% and losses are unlimited, a rapidly rising share price can effectively drive short sellers to the exit in a hurry. Now here's the thing, these guys didn't win fair and square. They actually played dirty. They had some of their corporate lackeys do all the grunt work and place all these massive restrictions on everyday people, you know, including myself, from buying stock, like what WSB did, Wall Street Bets, and the online Redditors. And one of these companies was Robinhood, which is a pretty pretentious name for a petty, backstabbing trading company like this one. So it's like they prevented a lot of people from buying the stock, especially with AMC and GameStop, but they only allowed them to sell. They only allowed them to sell or whatever. They had like their co-chair or CEO or whatever, Vlad, come on as their spokesperson, make all these wishy-washy BS excuses as to why they put all these restrictions on these average folks who are trying to buy stock or shares or whatever. And another company is, I believe, Axios, who are aligned with Square, Cash App, and that's the app that I use most often. And I actually try to invest in some stock, you know, in like AMC and GameStop. I try to, you know, join the fray to an extent. And Cash App rejected my investment. They said, okay, you can't like buy AMC or whatever, and they just gave me the refund. And they still don't allow you to buy the stock. I actually just checked. Now, surprisingly, this story actually caught fire across media to various big names. CNN, Fox News, to Joe Rogan, Elon Musk. As a matter of fact, Chris Cuomo actually brought on Vlad from Robinhood, onto CNN. And Chris Cuomo, he was really hitting Vlad with the hard questions and was definitely hammering it into him. He wasn't playing around.
But that's the thing, is that the trust is in question, because it seems like the only people who are getting hurt were the big shots. And that if they were benefiting from this, your small investors now believe that you wouldn't have shut down the game. And just one thing without getting in the weeds here. You don't control the listing venue for GameStop. Now, I used to work in finance, so I know this stuff, but the audience doesn't need to. The New York Stock Exchange does. So if anybody was going to control the listing and shut it down, it should have been them, but it wasn't. It was you. And the reason that they do it is very limited. They do it because they think there's evidence of fraud, or they think that there needs to be a material disclosure by the company that hasn't been made. And that's done to protect the investor. You check none of those boxes here because you don't control the venue. You didn't know about any information that GameStop or any of these other stocks needed to put out. You don't have any reason to believe there's fraud that you've articulated. And you're certainly not protecting these people who've been living the dream of making money, especially at the expense of the big guys. So why should people believe you did this for the right reasons?
Well, we have no choice. We have to comply with all financial requirements and
the SEC
regulations.
hasn't said you had to do this.
Well, lots of brokers have to comply with these financial requirements and have issued restrictions on some of these names. And this is an industry-wide thing. You yourself mentioned that other brokers this week have imposed restrictions. And not speaking for other firms, but for Robinhood in particular, this isn't because there's deals happening with market makers we route to or market participants.
But then why did you allow people to keep selling but not buying? The reason that is so troubling to people is that they were making money buying the stock because they were against the short side. And so by enabling them to sell but not buy, it sounds like you were allowing the hedge funds, and again, one of them owns a piece of you, and they had a big short position, and that looks like a stinky conflict that you didn't come out straight on from the start.
Vlad was also on the Clubhouse with Elon Musk, and Elon even asked him, "Oh, are you safe? You sure they aren't like holding a gun to your head or anything?"
Like
it's based on growth.
What everyone wants to know. Is like, did something maybe shady go down here? It's like, seems weird that you'd get a sudden $10 billion demand. $3 billion in the morning. Sorry, how much?
Yeah, it was $3 billion US dollars.
$3 billion. Okay, $3 billion.
Yeah, around.
Just suddenly out of nowhere. And what percentage?
I wouldn't impute shadiness to it or anything like that. And actually, the NSCC was reasonable subsequent to this, and they worked with us to actually lower it. So it was unprecedented activity. I don't have the full context about what was going on in the NSCC to make these calculations, but essentially.
Is anyone holding you hostage right now?
No,
Blink
I'm
twice.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for asking. But anyway, so this was obviously nerve-wracking, and I actually was asleep at this point. The operations team was fielding this at 3:00, and then we got back, we put our heads together. Our chief operating officer basically said, look, let's call up the higher ups at the NSCC and kind of figure out what's going on. Maybe there's some way we can work with them. And basically there was another call, and they lowered it to something like $1.4 billion from $3 billion. So, we were making some progress, right? And then, but it's still a high number. And then, we basically proposed, well, let's let's explain how we plan to, let's explain how, we'll manage risk in these symbols throughout the day. We propose marking these volatile stocks that were kind of driving the activity, position closing only. And then at about an hour before market open, so 5:30 or 5 in the morning, they came back and they said, okay, the charge is, or the deposit, 700 million, which we then deposited and paid promptly, and then everything was fine. So that essentially explains why we had to mark these symbols position closing only.
I actually kind of feel bad for the guy. Nah. Now, this is what really pisses me off. And it is the fact that people out here are really suffering during this pandemic, during this crisis. They're making these daily trips to food pantries and unemployment line, working miserable jobs, if any. They're losing their homes, they're being evicted, they can barely pay the bills and take care of their family's children. It's an absolute mess. And what I don't understand is this: how is it that when it comes to helping the American people, giving them proper financial relief, these higher ups give these significant delays or act like we're asking for an arm and a leg? They want to worry about the deficit and be on a budget, be all frugal. Meanwhile, they're continuously bailing out these corporate fuckers in these hedge funds. They're making things like, what happened in the stock market between the hedge funds and WSB like a state of emergency. They gotta bail them out. They gotta give them some money and stuff so they won't collapse or whatever. How is it that you have money for that, but not for people who are struggling out here? People who are in the worst shape. There are people out here dying, man. There are people out here who are in abusive relationships and they can't get out because they need money. They need money. And we don't need a means-tested relief. What that's going to do is create more division. It will be harder for us to work cohesively, which is a pretty strategic move for the oligarch, for these rich billionaires or whatever. So, like my friend always says, the Matrix has been very unkind. President Biden, he promised to give us a $2,000 third stimulus check, and then he wants to say oh, I meant 1,400, but he literally said during the Georgia runoff, oh, I'm gonna give everybody $2,000 checks. That was the argument, and that is why the Democrats won the Senate and Biden's the president. And also, of course, we're in the middle of a pandemic, but people need financial relief right now, man. And you definitely need to make it reoccurring. Turn it to a universal basic income. $2,000 a month for people from various ranges, like 70,000 and up. Because even if you make 100K, it's everybody is suffering in some form. Andrew Yang and Ro Khanna, they mentioned that the food banks, the food pantries, the cars, the people that are going there, they're from all walks of life. It's not just the poor, but even those who are in the higher end of middle class. As Andrew Yang puts it, the cars are getting nicer. This isn't some metaphor or some over exaggeration. This is real, man. This is serious. Everything comes down to money, especially if you want to get out of a toxic environment, get the proper care, whatever. You need the money. So give people money. I mean, if you're willing to give these hedge funds money, surely you could give it to us. I mean, technically we're the employers, but then again, these rich folks, they think they're the employers, they're the top dog, and unfortunately, we don't have the willpower. I mean, not at the moment, the willpower to really stick it to these guys, because there's still a lot of us that are just too brainwashed and just too far gone. We'll listen to everything the media says and take that as truth, which is pretty dangerous because we know how biased mainstream media can be. These big donors, they're in charge of the media as well. But right now, people need money. And in order for you to survive, you need money. The benefit behind the universal basic income is that there are no financial disparities. It actually inclines people to unify, to come together and take seriously other issues like Medicare for all, universal health care, like free college, like increasing the minimum wage, like climate change. Because like UBI, universal basic income, like that, what that does is like it not only ends poverty, but it ends any sort of like division or polarization. When you don't have the financial resources, or you can barely make ends meet, and you're in financial turmoil, financial strait, you can't think clearly, and it leads to things like racism, sexism, homophobia, crimes taken out on those who are getting money from the government, who are getting assistance from the government and stuff. They take it out on those. They take it out on those who are disabled, saying like, "Oh, why do they get money but we don't?" So giving everybody money prevents that, or stops that, or keeps it from being a normal thing, because it shouldn't be. But that's the case now, because people are struggling and they're desperate. I even saw this one video by Cal Kalinske about one of these like average Americans. They became like a drug dealer because that was the only way for them to pay their bills and take care of their family. This isn't a game. Again, if you can easily bail out these hedge funds and these billionaires and these banks or whatever, surely you could bail out the people. This is unacceptable. We're supposed to be better than this, but apparently not.
Oh, I'll tell you what changed. The billionaire hedge funds, they got out of their shorts tonight. So why is this behavior not risky tomorrow, but it was today? It's because they're being pulled by strings. It's criminal behavior, what happened today. Plain and simple, people have to go to jail. Plain and simple.
I really hope that even though we lost this battle, it doesn't end there. I hope more movements like WSB and the online Redditors and them infiltrating the stock market, I hope more of those sorts of movements happen again. I feel like that's what is necessary, because we see how they react when we beat them at their own game, when we get them to taste their own medicine. So we're doing something right. We should keep that up. We shouldn't just like let it die off. I mean, I want more groups like this to continue this trend, this momentum, because it looks like we gotta take matters into our own hands, and this is the best way. You know, hit them where it hurts, which is their wallets. I'm actually dabbling a bit with like Bitcoin, or I guess they call it Dogecoin or whatever, and it seems a little bit easier compared to investing in stock and stuff. So I just put my money in there, and I've been monitoring it all this time, and it fluctuates. Now it's like I had like what, $20 in there, and now it's increased to like a few bucks, maybe even more. It goes up and down, but I know that like this one video guy by Brian from Clear Value Tax, he mentioned that I don't know if it's March or April, that is when this rising trend with Bitcoin will collapse. Trying to like see how I could withdraw though, whatever. I'm still learning. Again, I'm still learning and this sort of stuff. But I feel like cryptocurrency, Dogecoin, Bitcoin, whatever you want to call it, I feel that's a little bit easier for me to understand. Pause it. Guys, I finally discovered a way to obtain money from cryptocurrency. Cash App actually allows you to easily deposit and withdraw Bitcoin to and from your account. On the invest page, all you gotta do is press the button buy, pick how much money you want to send, and submit. If you want to withdraw crypto, just press the button sell and repeat the process. No hassle, it's just that simple. Now, let's get back to the video. But there's this other thing that you guys should check out if you haven't, and that is Gooddollar. Gooddollar. They are also like crypto based. Every single day they offer you a certain amount of like coins, crypto money or whatever, every single day. So it's like a basic income or UBI in itself, and they just add this feature where you can actually buy stuff on the market. Yeah, I hope that takes off or whatever. So guys, if you haven't checked that out before, you should now, because I mean, this is the only way, I would say, for us to get any sort of power back into the hands of the people, because that's what we got to do before anything else. Otherwise, these hedge fund guys, these billionaires, like, or whatever, they're just going to keep on doing these illegal activities and screwing us over until someone pulls the plug.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. And nobody seems to notice, nobody seems to care. That's what the owners count on, the fact that Americans will probably remain willfully ignorant of the big red, white, and blue dick that's being jammed up their assholes every day. Because the owners of this country know the truth. It's called the American dream, because you have to be asleep to believe it.
That is it for today's video. Don't forget to like this video, hit that notification bell, subscribe to my channel to stay up to date for various other content that I upload, and rest assured, there will be more to come. So stay tuned. Until then, I'll see you all next time right here on Izzyland YT.